Hi everyone, welcome to Tim's vlog. Please, I'm requesting that you subscribe if you haven't, and thank you if you have. On this channel, we are for lifting each other up, and I wish you well in your endeavors, that the right people support your business and makes it a prosperous one. Thank you once again for subscribing, and thank you for liking as you deem fit. You're most welcome to share your opinion in the comment section, but please draft sensible comments that do not contravene the guidelines of this platform. Today we are talking about Seun Egbegbe, the newly released Seun Egbegbe that has been in incarceration since 2017. And the topic of discussion is he a changed man? It might seem such a little time to discuss this, knowing that he has just been released this month, barely 2 weeks. But there's just something about this man that's given a very sober reflection. And this has prompted me to bring this topic on board, that he now a changed man. And of course, everyone in their right that would normally think would say he should actually be a changed man for his own good. And yes, I couldn't agree more. There's just something about him that's given change, that's given reformed. The other day, as he was released, we saw that he had gone to a temple, the one he believes in, which is a church. And he had just this calm aura from the previous man we used to know. I would also share with us an interview that he has just recently granted with Premium Times. And his words construct just gives this vibe that he's one to look out for now in a positive way, based on the answers he gave on certain questions that he was asked. I would be very honest, I'm impressed with his level of thinking at this stage. This is his new page, Real Seun Egbegbe. There are so many pages on Instagram, but this is the one he has acknowledged as his real page. And he's lucky he has started gaining followers. And here, this is the first post from 3 days ago, where he was thanking, God for mercies in his life. And yes, I count it as mercy truly, because there are many people who were kept in incarceration and none of them made it out alive. So he's very lucky to be alive. And to be honest, he doesn't even look as bad as one would expect, being away for 6 years in such a facility. He actually looked kind of refreshed. And he is attributing it to the fact that he drew closer to the Almighty and he set his path right while he was away. He didn't look like he was involved doing anything that would damage him while he was away. He looked like someone who really worked on the negative vices that he must have been dealing with that made him end up there. Being incarcerated is not the best place to be, of course. And I want to believe anybody who has their right mind would not want to be in such a place ever again, if they ever go there. And those who have never been there should keep up good behavior to not end up there. Without dwelling much on things that are not relevant, I want us to just go through these pictures. And this is after he has been released. He looks calm. He looks sober. Looks can be deceiving, but I really want to encourage him that these looks should not be deceiving. It should be who he really has turned out to be. And upon his release as well, he went to visit his mom. Here, that's his mom hugging the person that they came together. That is him that has just moved away. The light-skinned guy wearing black. And I believe these are from family, well-wishers and friends, those who really wished for him to be out with them. And luckily for them, he's out here now as a free man. And that's his mother showing happiness and showing gratitude that she can once again meet her son alive and standing well. He doesn't look ill. And he said this, he said, seeing my mom yesterday after 6 years mean a lot to me. What an emotional, calm, exciting moment. Of course, it would be emotional and exciting at the same time. Truly, right choice of words. He now said that, okay, he's just telling the public now that he's aware that there are several fake accounts on Instagram using his name. Now telling everybody that this is his real account. So if you all, those that want to work with him, because he's a movie producer, before the event that happened, that he was kept away. And we're going to go into what happened shortly. Okay. All right. Now let's go to the story. Seun Egbegbe in 2017 was arrested and charged and convicted for scamming Bureau de changes of their money. But the judge found him guilty on one count of 44 allegations. And he has spent 6 years and released now in October 2022 after approximately 6 years. But this subheading is quite misleading. I don't like it. That they jailed him for 6 years for offense he didn't commit. He was convicted of 1 out of 44. And he served time, I believe, for that one. And the judge ruled upon his release, as heard and as read, that the monies that were retrieved from him based on the 44 unproven allegations should be released to him. I would just advise him he should not really meddle too much on proving what happened and what didn't happen, because he was convicted of something and he had paid time for that. He shouldn't start meddling in what is now bygone, so that, especially if he's truly sure that it's not just a thing of chance, that there were no evidences to prove. If he knows that if they really dig deep and there is something against him that could be proven, he should just stop talking about this thing. He has spent time, he's out, he has turned a new leaf, as he has said, and has shown on him, because if you want to judge on the aura around him, he looks like someone that is sober and will do everything not to go back there. Now, this report said on Premium Times, okay, this is his first interview. His name is Seun Egbegbe, like you all know, but I believe his birth name is Olajide Karim. Seun Egbegbe is like a nickname that he gained. He's a movie producer, and he was a prominent one at that time, and came into limelight on a bigger stage because of his relationship with celebrated movie actress Seun Abraham. Seun Abraham has since moved on from this. But of course, we can't talk about Seun Egbegbe for now without Seun Abraham's name being involved in some type of way, not in a bad way. She wasn't involved in his previous path that led him to being locked up, but she was a part of his life, and that was how I personally knew this man. Okay, he was known then for his lavish lifestyle, we've spoken about that, for his lavish lifestyle, and it was realized that he kept up with that lifestyle by allegedly duping some operators then, because he was only convicted of one instead of the over 40 allegations, I think 44. And it's written here that even on the day of the trial, the period of the trial, about 30 Bureau de Change operators came to testify against him that they were victims. And prior to then, he was also arrested for phone theft, but all that now is bygone because he has served time, he's out, and he has claimed to turn a new leaf, and want to believe that. But what really caught my attention in this interview that made me buttress the fact that I believe he's truly a changed man, let's continue with the interview, is because of how he responded to some of the questions asked. Let's continue here. It said, okay, this report reads, Mr. Karim, who became famous over his love affair with Nollywood actress Seun Abraham a few years ago, was said to have been abandoned by his colleagues and proteges during his travel. That means colleagues and those that were mentors abandoned him during that time. And this is normal human nature, bound to happen. In an interview with BBC, Mr. Karim described his incarceration as a blessing in disguise, as his prison experience helped him identify his enemies disguised as friends around him. He said, "Those I thought were my friends before I had that issue, I found out were my enemies after he returned from being locked up." He said, "None of his explanations will be acceptable to some people, and they will keep saying it's a lie because there are two enemies around him, but he thanks God for life." Okay? He said he believes God made him to go where he went to for a purpose, because his eyes were open to a few things while he was there. He said the crime he was incarcerated for 6 years over, he didn't commit, but happy that he went there to know what living on earth means. Meaning he saw another part of life that makes him appreciate freedom. He then proceeded to say 95% of the people surrounding him were his enemies, not his friends. Please, guys, don't dwell too much on this. He's saying enemies, this, that. He actually made some really valid points in this interview, and we are going to get to that. But in the meantime, let's continue reading. He said, if this had not happened, he would have lived a worthless life because he believed those around him were his friends. Trying to say that he would have still been, because we learned he was quite generous then, he would have still been living a reckless life, sponsoring people left, right, and of course, probably continued in crime. Then now, Mr. Karim, who is Seun Egbegbe as well, whose publicized affair with Nollywood actress Seun Abraham shot him into the limelight. Then she was bearing Toyin Aimaku, but she has since changed her name to Seun Abraham. And it was that relationship that shot him into limelight a few years ago. This report also states that. I've said that earlier as well. Then he said, it is reported that during his heyday, the filmmaker financed the production of several Yoruba films under his Ebony Films Productions imprint. He was the owner of Ebony Films, a movie producing company, and he did produce a lot of films. He produced more than 20 movies, including Ebony Halaji, Igbayilola, Tanika Be, Kura, Ile Olalewu, Ipo Agba, and Odaran. That's quite ironic. When asked about his relationship with his ex-lover, the famous actress, the ex-convict appealed not to comment on issues relating to the actress. And that's very commendable, because some people would have wanted to use her name to chase clout and it to be all over the news. Seun Egbegbe, West said this about Seun Egbegbe. And now, even if people pick on this as news, it's not for bad reasons. He handled that question maturely, and he proceeded to say, I do not want to say anything about Seun Egbegbe. Let us respect her. She is married with a kid, and I'm happy for her. May the devil never separate her from her husband. I really, really, really like this phrase that this man said, because that was a trap for him to have one or two things to say. But he handled it maturely. He respected his ex and the fact that her status has changed from being with him to who she is now. And this has actually earned him a lot of public love and sympathy. The ex-Nollywood filmmaker, I won't say ex-Nollywood filmmaker because that's what he knows how to do. And now that he's out, I believe he's going to proceed in that career. But this report continued by saying that he said he has turned a new leaf. I believe so, and it reflects. And was captured on video as he attended a church service. That has been noted as well earlier. A video of the producer was shared online by an Instagram user, and he looked sober and repentant as he looked pretty serious. Yes, there was a movie page that posted that, and I went to his page because he was tagged there, and I saw the video first, and I've played it before reading this article. And truly, anyone who really looks well will see that he looked sober and repentant. Yes, he definitely has a repentant aura around him. And he looked pretty serious in church. Okay, yes, when he went to church, yeah. And even when he was with his mom, when he went to church, all the videos that have been coming out of him shows a sober man, a reformed man, a repentant person, and someone that is just willing to take life again in the right direction this time. Mr. Karim said his most significant achievement in prison custody was his closeness to God. That's good. That's very good. He said right now he wants to open a foundation that will care for the inmates in the country. Yeah, he has definitely seen the lapses, and for someone who has changed, who wants to turn a new leaf, of course, that's something good to explore. He said his best achievement in Ikoyi prison was surrendering his life to God. That's fantastic. He said he is now born again, that there is 100% difference between Seun Egbegbe before going to jail and now. The socialite who declared that he is now a born again also vowed never to hit a lady regardless of the offense. I want to believe this man has some very good PR team, because these are issues that came out on the limelight, that he used to be a serious woman beater. And once he was even released, that story came up again. And I like the fact that he has used that now to put a different narrative out there, that he is now a changed man. I like that, because people are just coming to terms with someone with such a story, such a history, coming back into the majority space. So I like the fact that he's pointing out where he knows that people would have something funny to say about him, and he's changing the narrative as best as he could, as best as he can. Excuse me for that. I like that. I will read that again. He said, he is now a born again, and has also vowed never to hit a lady regardless of the offense. He continued by saying, then for every little thing done by a woman, I would have started beating her. But when he got to prison, he saw people who were in prison for merely pushing their wives. For him, he says, thank God, he will never hit a woman again in his life. He also appealed to men to shun gender-based violence in society. He said he wants to appeal to all men out there to stop assaulting ladies no matter the provocation. And to the women, whatever your partners might have done to you, please forgive them. There is no perfect person on earth. No, I really like this part. I like this new Mr. Seun Egbegbe, Mr. Lajide Karim. I really like this new man. And I want him to continue in this reformed path that he has portrayed. And let it not just be the effect of just coming out, but it should be a permanent one and constantly improve to even be better. And that is the best way to integrate back and change the narrative and become a motivational speaker, telling people how you can change from being the very worst or being worse to being someone of great repute, someone that is now worth emulating, and a success story. That's what I really wish for this man. And I think people should let the past be in the past and give him opportunities to prove himself as a reformed man who has greatness in him to give out to others. And that will be it for now at this stage. Thank you very much. And thank you for watching to the end. And please kindly subscribe. Thank you. And remember to like. Thank you very much. Cheers.